discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the top 10 segment. This time we are doing 60 to 51. We are halfway there, almost halfway there. Almost there. There have been a lot of good games mentioned already, most of them on my list.
We'll eventually get to good ones,
Oh, are we about to get to some of yours? That's cool. Hopefully, I mean, they're probably bored listening to your shit games. Number 60 is Scoville, actually.
Oh, well, there you go.
That was like way higher on your list. I expected it to be like actually probably around this number. What number was it for you?
I'll look.
That was anyway. So Scoville, as he already mentioned in another video, I think, it's just a really unique game in the sense that it is a. I mean, it's about peppers and you're just crossbreeding.
81.
81. Yeah, I expected it to be way higher. But I don't know. I really like the. My favorite part of the game is the crossbreeding and like deciding where you're going to plant them, but also in such a way that they can easily get to it and start using it to be able to just make these recipes that are weirdly named and funny for either a lot of points. You can go for all the smaller ones. I mean, for what the game is in and of itself, it seems like it'd be more complicated than it really is, but it's not at all. And you can. One of these things is that there's not really a whole lot of player interaction. The only time is if they're moving around and blocking you.
Yeah, just try to screw them over.
Right. But other than that, like, I was able to do, like, I had a plan of what peppers I wanted to plant and then to get the combinations to be able to do that, and I was able to do it with no problem. Works really well as a two-player game as well, so I can only imagine it gets better with more people.
Note that the first time we played it, my family didn't really understand what was happening, and I just kind of went down into the corner and got a couple of big peppers planted, and I just kept running in circles. And so then after we start playing it more, they start, like, my wife starts following me now. So it turns to, leave me alone! Yeah, so
that's funny.
So it's definitely more like I only won that first time. I think everybody in the family's won a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number 60, Scoville.
My number 60 is Dice City.
Nope, never played.
All right, it's AEG. It is the one, after buying it and playing it, I got rid of Machikoro, because they're kind of in the same, they're in the same vein. Like,
I have played Machikoro.
You know, Machikoro, you roll the dice, you get the resources and stuff like that. This is a much better version of it. Each person gets an entire city board in front of them that has a grid of dice, 1 to 6, 1 to 6. And then it starts out with your generic city. It uses the little cards, ticket to ride cards.
Oh, okay.
But your board just has them on the board.
Oh, okay.
And then you'll be purchasing more.
I see. Okay.
But as you purchase them, you pick where you want to place them on your board, and then when you roll the 2 dice, you know, it dissects, and that's the abilities you take.
Okay.
You know? So it makes it much more strategic than Machikoro.
Yeah, I
Machikoro
wasn't a huge fan of Machikoro.
It was too
just
simplistic.
It was just kind of like, all right, I guess I'll build another bakery.
Right.
And then, I got a stadium now.
Right, and this was really neat just because they've come out with 3 expansions for it now.
Oh, really?
I think I have 2 of them.
Okay.
But it just adds a bunch more cards and stuff, and you're getting gold. And just, it's just really neat. I mean, it gives you actually you see your city. Like Machikoro is just, you're just laying your cards right here. But this one's like, you know, everybody has their own, like, board that they do stuff on, and it's a good one. It's,
yeah, that's another one I'll have to try. Yeah. Because I like the rolling dice and doing the card ability in Machikoro. I just don't like Machikoro.
Well, and there's dice manipulation.
Oh, okay.
So like you can like if you land on there, you can choose to go here or here.
Okay.
You know, instead, just so you can kind of make sure you don't bettering your odds of getting good stuff.
All right. So my 59 is Doom.
That one yet?
No, you know, I don't know a lot of people who have. But like, so Doom is one I really like, the new video game, like the one that Bethesda and id Software made. It's so good. So I'm a huge fan of that, and the board game is basically that. that version, and it's very fast paced. It's mission based, so it's not a campaign, which is fine. I actually would prefer it that way anyway. But one person plays the person controlling the Doom minis, and then the other players control just a Doom guy, just 4 different versions of Doom guy. And it's really cool because there's no dice in the game. How it works is it's card-based based off the weapons that they want to carry, so they can get any combination of weapons. And it's just so fast-paced. They're just running and just either killing, just blowing up my demons, or I'm just swarming them and then killing them, and then they just respawn back. And there's a certain objective for each scenario. And they have the glory kills, which were in the thing, which is just a lot more fun. Obviously, the theme doesn't bother me in any way, so like I don't think it's too dark.
I've played Doom game. I just haven't played the new Doom.
Right. So it's just you just go in, you're just gory and just.
Of course, I played the old 8-bit.
Oh,
Doom 2.
Gotcha. Okay, I have not played that one. Definitely showing your age there, Brad.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the board game is just a quicker version and just a really good iteration of the video game, which is why I like it so much, because the video game was really good. So that's why it's my 59.
All right. My number 59, I can't remember if we played this or not. Grabwell?
Nope.
Did we play that? Okay. Have you never touched it, huh?
No.
You know what it is?
Nope.
All right. It's Cryptozoic Games. It is actually a big-time filler game for what I've used it with a bunch of people.
Okay.
It can take 15 to 30 minutes, probably about. But what it is you have a board and it has a spiral of spaces that start from it's called the Singularity in the middle. It's a space game.
Okay.
And there's these hex spaces that kind of go out like this to an exit.
Okay.
And the whole point of the game, it's kind of a race game.
All right.
So you're going to have planes, your ships. You'll start right here in the middle. There's a couple of like derelict ships that have unmanned ships out on the board.
Okay.
It's kind of caused some issues. But there will be cards, and what'll be cool is, depending on the number of players, it'll depend on how many stacks of cards go out, but you put a card face down and a card face up.
All right.
And stacks, and then you draft stacks, so you know what the top one is, but you don't know what the face down one is.
Okay.
And there's 3 different kinds of cards. There's the green kind, which means you will move towards something that's closer to you.
All right.
There's the purple, which is the repulsion, which means you move away from the object closest to you.
Okay.
And then there's the tractor beam, which sucks everything that means faces towards you.
Okay.
Okay, so it really is, it's kind of brain burning, because you're trying to be the first person to get your ship out of the grab well.
Mm-hmm.
So you are, at the very beginning, you probably want to play a green card just to get out of the Singularity.
Yeah.
But then from that point on, because how the cards play in order to know where they go is alphabetical order. So there's all these chemical compounds,
Okay.
Carbon, whatever elements, I guess. And everybody has their own emergency stop card. So it's a
Okay.
one-time use per round. Like if you're getting totally just buried, like if somebody just moved
Yeah.
and you played a 10 green, you were going to move up 10, and then oh crap, you're going to be moving back 10.
Yeah.
Then you just play flip your emergency stop, and then it just
Gotcha.
cancels that action.
Okay.
And you play that whole round until you run out of cards in hand. You have to play every card that
Okay.
you drafted, and then moves on to the second round. You redraft the cards.
Do it until someone
And
escapes.
you go until the first person's out, or 7 rounds. I think
Oh,
7
okay.
rounds, which it's generally over by 4 or 5 rounds.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like I said, this rarely takes over 30 minutes.
Right.
Very, very rarely. And it's really cool. It's
Yeah,
such
no,
a unique game because the whole.
Right. No, that does sound like a lot of fun.
It's a blast though. It's another one we'll have to try.
I know, there's like 5 already. All right. So 58 is the Grizzled.
Yeah.
This got added on not too long ago because I just recently played it. It was on my shelf of games I need to play forever. This game is so hard. Like, it is a brutal game, brutal co-op game. Real quick, okay, so the game is you are best friends fighting in World War I. And it's a card game, basically just trying to play symbols. and there's 2 stacks of cards, and one is the deck that you're trying to burn through, and the other one is just like despair and just cards that can continuously get added into your deck you're trying to burn through. At each round, there's a leader, and the leader will be like, okay, well, this is the mission difficulty, which is how many cards you flip over. And then you just play cards from your hand. Oh, no, how many cards everyone's dealt, not flipped over.
Right.
And then, but you want to try and get rid of your hand and make the mission successful, or at least successfully abandon the mission. Everyone passes. This game is incredibly hard because as soon as any 3 symbols are there, or terrain types, you immediately fail the mission. But also there's cards that you can play on yourself, which are just awful. They're all bad. And so you're trying to work together and like the tag is friendship stronger than war. I thought I heard this. Can you talk in that game?
To be honest with you, I don't know yet because
Oh, that's right. You've played it solo.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's kind of
okay. I couldn't find it anywhere in the rules. I feel like I have heard that you cannot talk in it, but I don't see why you couldn't. We played it where we talked, but it was still super hard.
Probably a variant to make it harder.
Probably.
You know?
It was a bad time. We brutally lost both times we played it, but it's so good. The strategy element of this game is awesome, and the expansion at your orders brings in the new 2-player variant, and also missions that you go on, specific missions that have a success and a fail.
And does it make it a little easier?
I think it makes it easier because of the missions you can go on are difficulties. So you can set it to your group's preferred choice of difficulty instead of the base game where it's just like, oh, we lost again.
Right.
So they really went out of their way to actually explain, hey, you know, this isn't like meant to be taken that seriously. Like, yeah, it was World War. I mean, if you really think about it, if you actually delve into it and think about, you know, what you're dealing with, because the symbols like are just kind of, it's like a bullet, and there's in the rulebook it explains what each of them means. So like the gas mask is the mustard gas that was used in World War I. So it's like, if you really think about it, it's a very if you have a hard time, I guess if you have a hard time disconnecting that it's a game, then it might be a rough time. But that's my 58.
I was going to say, I don't know if I have that on my list or not. I'll have to.
Really? I guess I'll have to be surprised.
Yeah, because I can't remember if I did, because I know I was pondering it because I hadn't really played it a ton.
Right.
And I still hadn't made up my mind on it, so I don't know. We'll see. My 58 is Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle deck building game. It's a very, very good game. And I don't like Harry Potter.
Oh, really?
Very well. I've been playing it with somebody that is a huge fan of Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
So I get made fun of a lot because I'm saying I'm going to buy this Reparo or whatever spell that I'm buying, and I obviously keep saying things wrong and getting corrected, you know, so that's part of the fun of it. But I like it because, like, you could put any theme on it, and I would still like it as much as I do now.
Okay.
Because it puts a little twist on the deck building game, in that it breaks it up into several games.
Right.
It's not really campaign necessarily.
Like books.
But like, like they do on this one, you play book 1, and you get the very early version character card of one of the, because it has Harry, Hermione,
Ron.
Yeah, and then the other dude, I can't think of his name.
Well, there's only 3 in the trio.
Well, they only play with 2, so we're always Harry and Hermione.
Oh, okay.
Whenever we play at some time. But anyway, you go through and you deck build, and you try to beat. You get a stack of villains.
Okay.
And once the villains get defeated, you win.
Yeah.
And then you make your deck all the way back down to the starting deck again.
Okay.
Put all those cards back into the Hogwarts deck,
Mm-hmm.
and then open up book 2. It'll give you special instructions. It may have a special new little, what am I trying to say, a new mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
And then it will add some more villains. to add to the stack of villains. So maybe you started with 2 villains in book 1, then you're going to have 5 in book 2. And then it also adds more cards to the Hogwarts deck.
Okay.
So that deck's getting pretty thick on us right now.
Right.
So you don't see all the super cards, all the time with that. But as you keep going, you just keep, and I'm not going to spoil anything because one box adds some really cool stuff to it, components and stuff.
Didn't they just do an expansion?
Yes, and I don't have that yet. I'm definitely going to get it after playing this because I had.
Gotcha.
But it's one of those things like we're getting ready to start book 7 now, and we have a stack of 17 villains we're going to have to get through, plus all the Horcruxes that you have to defeat before you can take out Voldemort.
Right.
And it's going to take freaking forever, and I love deck building games, but to have it where it just keeps building up, I bet you go back to your starting 10 cards in your deck before you start every book. It's not like you have to
hold on to all
power deck going into the next deal. So it's all luck based depending on if you get those good spells out or the good equipment and stuff like that.
Right.
And the bad guys have some nasty abilities.
That stupid just photo stock that it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't bug me on
Well, no, because you don't like Harry Potter.
Well, yeah, but
it's
character card upgrades though,
but it's like I don't understand why in like book 1 they just don't have they have 7th ending, picture of the villains. It's like why didn't they just make it thematic? They easily could have made it thematic. I feel like it was lazy. First of all, I think that's lazy anyway to just take pictures. And throw it into a...
Well, you got to take into account that it is USAopoly
it is them.
So I mean, this is like the crowning achievement of USAopoly.
Right.
I mean, because this is like the only game I think that's been like a super seller for them.
Right.
So putting all that aside, though, like I said, I mean, it could be freaking Transformer. It could be anything. But it's just really cool to do
Transformer, deck building.
Right.
You go through all of his
USAopoly, let's make it.
The shitty Michael Bay movies. At the end, the final box is big shit.
Yeah.
Here it is.
So anyway, then you said there's an expansion, which is,
I don't know what they're adding.
It's going to have Luna Lovegood as a playable character,
okay.
And then it's the forest, Monsters in the Forest or something. That's what the storyline is. I don't know how many books it adds or what it is.
Well, there's no more books.
I know, so I don't know if it continues on, like you add those cards into this deck or what. I don't know, but it's very, very good for. It's not my favorite deck builder. Spoiler alert. But
what?
But it's a very good one. Surprised the hell out of me.
57 is a wonderful party game called Mysterium. You mentioned Deception Murder in Hong Kong. A lot of people compare these two for whatever reason. I don't understand why. Mysterium is a blast to play. It is one of my group's all-time favorite games to play. If we're ever all getting together for a birthday or for just to hang out, they always ask me to bring it. And it's super frustrating too. It's really funny to be the ghost. I mean, it's frustrating because I'm just sitting there pissed off that they're not getting my very minute detail on the card. That I'm like, hey, you guys will get that, right? Because you think like I think. And it's really funny to after I explain what their card was to them that they just get pissed off at me. It's the same as being the forensic scientist. You can't talk. But the point of Mysterium, if you don't know, is that Ghosts, they're actually coming up with a new expansion, which actually adds I was looking into it. I think it adds objectives or something that, hey, this is why she was murdered. It just adds more than just cards.
See, I own the base game, but I haven't played it yet, and I haven't touched.
Oh, I think your family would love it.
Yeah, I'm sure we would. They like Clue.
Right. Oh, yeah. So the point is a ghost was murdered. The ghost is played by one player, and they give those vague Dixit cards where it's very artistic. It's very beautiful artwork, and they give it to each person because each person has a person, place, and item assigned to them. And so you're giving them cards, and hopefully they can figure out what you're wanting them to get. And then if they all make it to the end, then they all get to guess. And I think this is the only clunky part of the game, is you gather up all their cards pretty much, and the ghost assigns a person, place, and thing Oh, no. They all assign and make a bunch of, let's say a 5-player game. There's 5 different combinations of people, 5 things, and 5 items. Then the ghost gets 3 cards from their hand to put face down. And then, depending on how well the, what do they call the people that speak to ghosts?
Mediums?
Mediums, thank you. Depending on how well the mediums did throughout the game, that's how many of those cards they can look at. Then they all secretly guess, and then whoever the majority won, that's what they all think. If it's that, then they win. If it's not, they lose. It's an absolute blast, and I love it. It's been played a lot.
That's what I was going to ask you. Have you guys gotten to where you know the cards,
No.
clues on the cards to do and stuff? Okay.
No, because because not all the heroes, not all the suspects are going to be the same, and not all the in the expansion I think added more suspects and stuff. So I would say that one, because you're timed on how much you can look at it. So I would say that yes. So let's say you play with the same group, that person most likely will not be assigned the same person.
Gotcha.
So even if that suspect is still in the game, someone else will have it, and they're not gonna have enough time to be able to figure out and have whoever had them previously be like, oh, that's who it was before.
Right.
Because that may not be what I'm trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a deck of cards that you're not going to draw. It's just very rare that something like that would happen. Anyway, it's an absolute hit in my group, and I love it. I haven't ever played Dixit, and I never will because I'd rather play Mysterium. So that's my number 57.
My 57 is another deck building game.
Oh,
We're on this
is
track.
it? Now we moved past Gateway games. Now we're on deck builders.
Yep. This is Thunderstone Advance.
I've never played it.
I've
heard about it though.
The reason it's not higher on my list, if it had a fully co-op or solo mode to it, it would be top 10 easy.
Okay.
But it's competitive.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And it's a dungeon crawl deck builder.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
You're going into the dungeon to take out bad guys. You have to have light, or you get, as the further in the end, you have to have light weapons or light items so that you can see further and not have deductions when you're fighting. Okay. And stuff. But it's pretty much your pure deck builder. I mean, you go into town, you buy stuff, it goes to your discard pile, stuff, all that jazz.
Yeah. All that boring stuff.
The new
themeless
Kickstarter for the new version, because it was out of print for a while. They have the new Kickstarter that should be arriving. Maybe a few months, maybe. I was backing it. I pulled out because there was talk that they might have a solo co-op mode, and they never did confirm it.
I see.
So I just pulled out because I wasn't gonna own it again, and I got rid of it because of that reason.
The complaint I've heard with this game was that by the end, the final boss you fight, you're just so OP that it's like, he's dead.
Kind of, but I mean, it is if you play it. Like if you were playing it solo, I could see that for sure.
Okay.
But when you have 4 people playing it, and there's not a ton of really great items that you can buy, and it's kind of spreading it out. Like one person's not buying all the strongest shit.
Right, yeah, I have all the stuff.
So if you like Dominion at all but want theme, go with Thunderstone Advance, because it's the same kind of game. It's just you actually get to go kill stuff.
Yeah, you're just not buying cards for the sake of buying cards.
Right.
Okay. All right, so 56. Now we're almost halfway there. Well, no, we're not. I don't know. I'm thinking we won't be until we get to 50.
You like maths?
No, I know. Apparently not. So my number 56. Let's move on. Is called Darkest Night. You ever played Darkest Night?
I heard of it. I know what it is. I haven't played it.
Darkest Night is another brutal. I guess that's kind of redundant to say that a co-op game is brutal. They pretty much all are. Darkest Night. The theme behind this one is actually one that I really like. Is that the heroes have already lost. Like you're this ragtag group of people that are trying to bring back the light and push back the darkness that the necromancer is laying, because he won. And the board itself is just 6 different locations you can go to. And it's almost abstract in a way. You're just moving to these places and searching and trying to find keys for relics. And how you beat the necromancer is you just go in a spot, roll a die, because the relic will allow you to add 1, and he has a defense of 6, and you have to beat it. So you cannot do that with a d6. You have to have a relic. If you roll a 6, and you kill him. And that's really the entire game. But what's cool about this game is the fact that they have a bunch of different classes that you can be, and each class has their own deck of cards, which are their abilities. So there are some in there that you see your generic ones, but then there's a bunch of other ones that you hardly ever see, except in like an RPG like D&D or Pathfinder.
Right.
And so everyone is unique as they're playing, and they have these really cool abilities. And each expansion, which I have all of them, they're actually about to do a 2nd edition, which I almost backed on Kickstarter, but I was like, no.
Is it still going?
I don't think so. I think it's passed like a long time ago. Or maybe it hasn't gone up. I don't know. I didn't really focus on it. I just know they're making it. Anyway, so each expansion, like one adds quest cards that you can go on. Actually, not even quest cards that you can go on. They're things that you really kind of want to go deal with. So it doesn't just make it, hey, go here, roll, and then and see what happens. It's now I need to go deal with this event so we don't get hurt anymore. And then each location can add these blights, which all have unique abilities that you're trying to overcome. And it's a really cool game. I played it actually not too long ago, and I think we won. Yeah, because there's a few ways you can lose. One of the ways is if blights ever can't go in a spot, they end up going to the monastery, which is your safe haven. And if there was like 4 blights in the monastery, then you lose. That was like your last hope. And so it's a very hard game. It's rough, but it's a lot of fun, and I like it a lot. So that's my number 56, Darkest Night.
Would you say is it a deck builder?
No, it's
you pretty much just have your own deck.
You have your own deck, yeah.
So it's like Sentinels, the multiverse kind of in a way. You have your own deck.
I guess.
I mean, I'm not meaning it's like
yeah. So like
each character.
Like if you were the ranger, you'd have your own ranger deck, and you would.
That's why multiverse.
Okay.
Is.
Yeah. So you have 3 cards that are face up that are your abilities, and I think there are ways for you to get more cards abilities you can have.
Perfect.
So
I'll have to look into that because it is pure co-op, right?
Yep.
Good.
Yep. 100%.
All right, so here is yet another deck builder.
You did this on purpose.
I didn't actually. I pulled these 3 out, and I'm like these 3. I kind of put these 3 next to each other because they all were kind of equal.
Gotcha.
This is a Touch of Evil Dark Gothic deck building.
Is it? The Flying Frog Productions one? Is that deck building?
Yeah, well, no. This is the deck building version of a Touch
of Evil.
Okay.
So they made that.
The box didn't say a Touch of Evil except we're really small. It's called Dark Gothic is what you'll see.
Oh, okay.
But it's called a Touch of Evil.
I gotcha.
Dark Gothic.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't have a Touch of Evil. I've thought about buying it many times, but it's not really a solo type game. It's kind of its own little thing. And I didn't know how much I would play it. And then I saw that they had Dark Gothic come out. Uses the same art from all those games.
Yeah, their stock photo. Hey, we have some costumes. Let's put them on and be weird.
That's part of the coolness of this, though, in a way. I mean, if you think B-movie.
Yep, that's really what it is. Yeah.
But the unique thing, the thing that puts this above the other ones, anyway, you're going to have 3 levels of boss.
Okay.
Through like an easier, until you get to a badass, But the thing that makes this different is most games, when you play deck building, there's 2 resources. There's, think of, what's a deck building game that I actually play?
Aeon's End.
Okay, I haven't played that.
Tyrants of the Underdark.
I haven't played that either.
What is wrong with you?
Okay, so
that's it. It's just those 2. Those are the
okay,
2
so
deck
anyway,
building.
so at Marvel Legendary, let's say we're playing Marvel Legendary, there's Recruitment, which is the stars, and then there's the little claw marks, which is Attack.
Okay.
Those are the 2 things that you have to buy or attack with. This has 3 things.
Okay.
This has
a whole new thing.
Well, it has. I can't. This is stupid because I'm just gonna call them red, blue, green.
Okay,
They
cool.
They actually they mean something. Like I think blue is intelligence,
Magic, and green is
or something,
money.
and red is power, I think.
Okay.
But anyway, so there's 3 resources now. So your starting deck, depending on what character you pick, has a different mix of those 3 starting cards.
Okay.
You pick a dude that's this one dude that's really buff and strong and stuff. He may have a lot of red, but just maybe 1 green and 2 blues or something, you know. So it just depends on the character, and they have their own special ability as well. But then when you go to have you ever played Ascension?
No.
Okay. Well, anyway, there's going to be a row of cards out in the middle. There's the deck, and then there's going to be a row of, I think, 5 cards. And that's what you get to buy or attack from. There's going to be some monsters, or there's going to be stuff that you buy that will go into your deck. Some things will require 1 resource, some will require 2, some will require some of all 3. And then you take that, it goes to your discard pile, the same deck building as it usually is.
Right.
But having the 3 resources makes it really cool and more strategic and stuff, because I mean you have to spin exact, and then you roll over and you can get more than 1 thing.
Oh, okay.
But you also have to pay attention when you have the monsters up here. They may require 8 blue and 8 green and 4 red. It just, to make it shorter, it's just it has 3 resources.
Okay.
And that's the first deck builder I've played that has 3 resources. Usually, I mean, whether it's Ascension,
Played
and it has,
Arctic Scavengers?
not yet.
Oh, okay. I think that one has.
I just actually ordered it.
Oh, really?
So, but just having the 3 resources and being able to manage those, and there's a lot of special effects on the cards that they can bring into the game, since there are 3 resources and stuff. It's makes it really cool, and and it maybe down the road it may fall off, because you know it's it and Thunderstone were pretty close.
Gotcha.
And they're not co-op at all, so they were right there. Just having the 3 resources was what put it over.
Right.
And I have the expansion as well. I threw in
Oh, okay.
Colonial Horror.
Okay.
So we'll see, but it's a really good one.
Right. Out of their Flying Frog, I played Last Night on Earth, and I've played obviously Fortune and Glory. Oh wait, they did. I played Shadows of Brimstone as well. Oh, that was the one they didn't have, stupid backyard pictures. They usually had drawings, so that was
Thanks
nice.
to the Kickstarter, I think.
Probably. All right, so 55. My 55 is Pandemic Iberia. They're different. Okay, I thought about like, hey, is it okay to have?
I think it is. They're different.
They are radically different.
Yeah.
Pandemic Iberia is it's a really good version of Pandemic, and they're actually coming out with another one called Rising Tide, which actually has nothing to do with disease.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
She shared it with me.
but anyway, Iberia is set
Crap,
in like
never
the. Fair enough. I mean, how many of yours were pretty much the same?
I know.
Yes. Shut up. Half of yours are gateway and deck building. So yeah, there's this vast knowledge, everyone. Anyway, so Iberia is set in like I don't know, 17th century or something, to where you aren't actually trying to cure the diseases; you're trying to research them. So I think it's actually a lot harder because. One, it's set so earlier in history that you can't just teleport or you can't just fly somewhere. You actually have to like travel all the way there. Now, another action you can do is set railroads. So now that's how you get somewhere a lot quicker. So that's really cool. That's another way, just something different than the rest of them do. And so instead of, like I said, curing, you're researching, which means that they still come around. Like you're just like, hey, we know that this is now cholera. Good. That doesn't really help anyone because like they're still dying from it. And there's a different, I think it's a variation that you can play where the cubes actually move. And like whenever you build your hospital, you actually have to have color-coded hospitals. So yellow can only be built in yellow, red, and stuff like that. And so there's a variant that the cubes are actually people that are moving towards, and they can get overrun and shot back out. And that's another, I think it counts as an outbreak. So it just did something different, because I was worried to buy this and be like, oh, it's just going to be the same thing, but rethemed. But they did a really good job making it to where it's not, it doesn't, yes, it's Pandemic, and the core of it is Pandemic, but it feels different than each and every one of them. So that's why it's my 55.
You like diseases, don't you?
Man, I love
Plague Inc.
Plague Inc. is really good.
I'm surprised you don't like that Pandemic one where you actually are the disease.
Plague Inc.
No. There's an actual Pandemic game where you play.
Is there? Oh,
where you play the
not the
sickness.
Cure. It's
I can't think of what
I
it's
know what
called,
you're
but-
talking about. I haven't played it.
Yeah.
Like just like I haven't played the dice game.
Right.
So, like I stick with the big box games. I'm a big boy.
Yeah.
So, 55
All right. This is
another deck builder. It's actually a gateway deck
Actually, it's not
builder.
a deck builder. This is the definitive edition of this game.
Okay. That
Like,
didn't help
the,
me.
the end all be all of this game. Pandemic, the Cure.
Did you like draw on yours? What's that? Oh, that's your number.
Yeah, I
I thought you like drew like a
No.
disease. I'm like,
Pandemic, the Cure is the only one that I care for. It's the only one that I can get to the table. And it runs so much faster, unless you die really quick in Pandemic, of course.
right.
But this one has a circle, a plastic circle ring in the middle. You have a peg that shows your outbreak level and
Okay.
your infection rate and all that jazz. So it's pretty much Pandemic, just with dice. And when you pick your role at the beginning, each job has its own distinct set of dice with different faces on them.
Okay.
So if you're the transporter, I guess, the one
The
that-
dispatcher.
they have a lot of travel on their deck, like
okay.
helicopters and stuff
Okay.
like that, so they can move a lot faster, do stuff.
Yeah.
If you're the one that does the cures, the scientist
Medic.
who does the cures,
Oh, the scientist side
Yeah.
makes it for. Yeah. Okay.
they have a lot of the needles.
Okay.
Side deal, which it's just I may be over speaking on some of those because I'm not exactly sure, but it's you get your own dice and then you have a bag full of dice that are the different Z's, a bag full of, there's red, blue, yellow, it's the same
Mhm.
black.
Right.
So you'll do the same thing. There's going to be locations, which will be, I think they do North America, the continents.
Right.
And then you seed the board by you pull dice, and then you roll the dice.
Okay.
And then you put all the ones on North America,
Mhm.
all the twos, whatever it is. It doesn't matter the color.
Oh,
The
okay.
number is what you roll is where it goes. And then if any three or any four of that number of the color, then it'll explode. So you can have, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
you can have
yeah.
6 ones on there.
Right.
That's fine. But once you hit that fourth black one,
Yeah.
then it will explode and do
Right.
all the stuff.
Right.
But what you do is you're going to go through, and anytime you spend one of your dice that is a syringe on one of those locations, they go to the center of the circle.
Okay.
And then you have to use this little jar symbol on one of the dice.
Mhm.
You take that dice out of there, and then it takes it out of play
Okay.
for a while. That's how you're trying to find a cure.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So you want to do that with a couple of them, because then you have to roll the dice, and if you get a certain number,
Mhm.
then you find the cure.
Okay.
You add all those together, and that's
Right.
what finds the cure. And certain jobs do a better job of that, and there's manipulation, because it still has this exact same event cards, like what Pandemic would have,
Right.
the yellow
Right.
deals. And then the same thing with the outbreaks and all that stuff. When it outbreaks, you take all the dice that were in the center, goes back in the bag,
Oh, I
shakes
see.
up, and then comes back out again, and you do that, and then you just start getting a bunch of crazy ass explosions.
Yep. Yep.
And it is Pandemic, and it's high up on my list, and I hate the burst mechanic,
You're a hypocrite.
but it brings
Talking
in.
shit on my Pandemic.
Well, and it's the
games.
same reason that I like Defenders over that, because
Oh.
there's dice. I mean, like, it's not just the stupid deck, and you're not going to be able to count on epidemic card, outbreak card, or whatever they call them in Pandemic, popping up.
Yeah,
eventually.
that's the brilliance of it, is the fact that
But you can count, man. The dice, it could be more brutal. It could be easier. It's so random,
exactly.
and that's what I like about it.
All right. I like dice too, but I don't like dice in a strategy game.
And the game only takes 30 minutes,
Fair enough.
and that's the.
Hey,
biggest
so can
reason.
a game of Pandemic. Either you'll win in 30 minutes,
Well, and that's
you lose.
because I had Pandemic. I had all the stuff,
Mhm.
and all that, and when we played it a couple of times with my wife and stuff,
Mhm.
and her biggest complaint was, it just takes forever.
Mm.
It just takes forever. It takes forever. So then I bought this one, and it lasted 45 minutes
Yeah.
or whatever, and she was like, oh, I like this a lot better.
Yeah.
I was like, well, fine. Let's boot
I
this
mean,
out
I
the
don't know
door.
what you guys are
And-
doing wrong. Like, a game of Pandemic lasts pretty much just as long. Like, a regular game of Pandemic, either at least, I mean, if you're saying this lasts 45, add another 15 minutes.
Well, and then I don't quarterback it either with my
Mm.
girls. I let them make their own choices.
Yeah, so you guys should lose a lot quicker.
Well, I'm just being like I let them try to think it out.
Right.
Because I don't want to be sitting there. You need to move here, you know.
Yeah.
The whole,
That is the
that
problem
whole
with
deal.
Pandemic is the fact that, I mean, anyone who's played it enough, depending on any iteration, they're like, this is the smartest
Right.
move to do.
So I mean that's why that's on there. It's just as you've seen, I have a lot of X game here, the dice game. Everything's the dice game because
Right.
it's so much faster than the
Yeah.
original. Nations
I
and
mean, you take,
And all that stuff.
like with dice games, you take everything that's great about the game, you just add dice, and then you're like, that's the game.
well, right. But I mean this one, and that's why this one's higher than like Through the Ages and
Right.
Nations.
Yeah.
Is because this is the closest thing to Pandemic.
That is true.
As a dice
That
game
is
because
true.
it has all the Pandemic.
Right.
Deals. It's
Right.
just focused down into the dice instead of like
And
Nations the Dice
Nation
game or,
is
or
like
through
so-
the age or Roll Through the Ages.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
a basic.
Yeah, it's
version
just kind
of
of
it.
there.
This is Pandemic.
That's
it's,
fair.
It's just put.
I'd agree with you there.
Dice.
Yep. All right, 54. Number 54 is. Oh, okay, I felt like this one was right next to something else. Is The Others. So I actually
Never
have.
played it.
You haven't played it? Oh man, it's,
I've went to game night to try to play it and then whoever had it didn't show up.
Gotcha. John used to have it. Now I have it. And I have the Kickstarter version, everything with it. So yay me. No, The Others is a fantastically fun game. Like it revolves around the 7 deadly sins. One player plays one of those sins, and the other players play just not necessarily heroes. They're like some of them are heroes, and others are actual demons that aren't just evil. And each they're mission based as well. So it's really cool because they kind of have tiers. So the first thing is kind of like the very first mission is like gear up. So hey, it's kind of like let's get you ready for what's going to happen. Then they have 2 options. You can do this one or this one, and these are your objectives. If you fulfill one of them, or you choose one to do, if you fulfill it, then you go into the next one, and then you do that one. And so each time something else will happen. And it's Eric Lang, so it's just a shit ton of dice that everyone's rolling and they explode and like the entire game makes the heroes feel like they are going to lose. The first time I played it, I was like, this is impossible. There's no way. Then I played it again as I was the Overlord, and while I didn't win, they were really close to actually winning. I had to like pull some really sweet punches to actually make sure it didn't happen. But I really like these types of games. I really like the one versus all kind of mechanic.
Yeah,
because normally I'm the one,
Yeah.
which is perfectly fine for me. In Letters from Whitechapel, I'm Jack. In Fear of Dracula, I'm Dracula. And the others, I'm the demon. And any of them, Star Wars, I'm the Empire, stuff like that. So, and that's perfectly fine. I actually like having the challenge of a bunch of people versus me, because then I feel better if I beat 5 people
Right.
versus, and while they're all working together. Because in the strategy game, while yes, if I win the game, I did beat the number of people, but it's like they were also hurting each other and stuff like that.
Good luck with level 7 then.
I'm gonna laugh if I win, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, you suck.
Well, and I was playing with 4 people
Okay,
too, so there was 4 against me.
okay.
So keep that in mind.
All right.
I don't know if
Um,
that'll make a difference or not.
But so the others,
Yes.
like each, yeah. Let's move on to the current game. Each sin has their own, deck and their own followers and own event deck and stuff like that, and own ability. So they each feel unique. The miniatures are obviously awesome. So, there's really not a whole lot. The game is just a typical Eric Lang type of game, but I really, really like the theme and the flow of the game. So that's my number 54.
My 54 goes back to the Gateway game.
Oh,
Well,
wow!
again, but it's one that you want to.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you have it yet. Potion Explosion.
I do have it.
You got it now?
I did get it. I
All
haven't
right.
played it yet.
Potion Explosion is you can get anybody to play this game that's played Candy Crush or
Yeah.
Bejeweled or
any of
those kind of games, because pretty much you build this really cool 3D hopper, I guess is what you'd call it, and you drop all these marbles down into it, and they fall down these lanes, and you're going to pick one marble and one marble only, and then when the ones roll down and they connect with the other set, if any of those colors match, you get those two, and you can create some really cool chain reactions to get a crap ton of marbles in your hands. And then you place those marbles on any potions that you have in front of you, and made potions in front of you, and then you also have a workbench for anything you have left over. You can fill up on your workbench as much as you can, and then if you don't spend what you have to discard what you have left. I've played this a ton of times, and it's a blast.
Right,
And there's an expansion coming out soon.
Yep.
That's going to add a universal, like a universal marble that's going to count as any color, I guess, or something.
Like a wild.
Yeah, like a wild.
Yeah, I actually recently got this in a trade. I traded my second copy of Inish for this one and Hanabi.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I actually was just going to trade it for Potion Explosion, and he was like, hey, Inish is actually worth a little bit more. Do you want me to throw in Hanabi? I was like, you're awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, yes, I would like that.
So anyway, it's just a blast. I mean, it's one of those unique things because there hasn't been a game where you had those tracks and the marbles coming down. And,
right.
So it's unique, and I can't remember what list I put it on. If it was the unique deal or something, it was one of the lists that we did here the past couple months.
Oh, the innovative. That one's uploaded. So
yeah, I think that was it. But anyway, so Potion Explosion, and I can't wait for the expansion to come out because it's going to be pretty awesome.
All right, 53. My 53 is Merchants and Marauders.
I haven't played that one yet.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard.
Do you like pirates?
I do.
Okay.
I just haven't had a chance to play it.
Right.
Nobody has it that I.
It's actually quite a long game as well, but it is probably it's the best pirate game out there. Like one that you can't really compare them to each other, but another pirate game a lot of people seem to like is Roman Bones. That made my.
They're totally different games.
I know that made my 111. But I mean, so Merchants and Marauders is the epitome of a pirate game. You can either be a merchant or a pirate, and there's paths to victory in that. As a merchant, you just try and sell a bunch of goods that are in demand, and you get points if you do. I think if you sell 3 goods that are in demand into a spot, you also get a shit ton of money, which you can then go to your island and like secretly hide. Everyone has their own treasure chest, so they can hide their money. And if you have each 10 gold, I think you put in, you get 1 glory point, and you're trying to go to 10. You can only put up to 50 gold in there though, so but that can be secret. So if you get to 6 points for other methods, you can be like, I win, and then reveal and be like, hey, I actually have 50 points here, so I have 11. And so not only as a merchant, literally that's pretty much all you're doing. You can go out and do, there's rumors you can go out and do, and then as a pirate, you are, well actually if you're a merchant, you have pirate ships that are hunting you, that are NPCs that work actually pretty well. As a pirate, you have merchant, like naval ships that are also hunting you, as well as merchants, like other players that can come out and try and hunt you too. But you can like upgrade your ship to a galleon and just be a boss. You can buy all these, like chain, what do they call them, grape shots or chain cannons to use in naval combat, which is also a lot of fun. They made a separate side game called Broadsides, which is pretty much, from what I understand, I haven't played it, is just the combat version in Merchants and Marauders, which is a lot of fun. Like I really like the combat in this game. But yeah, if you want to sit down and feel like you're in Pirates of the Caribbean or the Assassin's Creed Black Flag thing, this is pretty much the best board game you can play. There's a bunch of events that happen throughout the game, as well as, yeah, I mean, everyone could just play merchant and just try and be the best merchant out there, but someone's going to go pirate, and then it might be worth your while to try and beat them, and if you board them and kill their captain, you can take their ship. I would say, though, it is harder to be a pirate because you have so much going against you as you should, but it's a lot of fun. I like it a lot, so that's my 53.
All right, my 53 is probably going to get something put over my face, so I think if I move like this, you won't be able to cover my face.
The firefly. Dude, I could move the board around.
But yeah, it's Firefly, the board game. I'm totally taking into account out of the equation the length of the gameplay.
Okay.
Because it's standard pick up deliver if you play the base game. There's a little bit of screw you with being able to control the Reavers ship and the capital ship or whatever. I can't remember. It's not called capital ship. Alliance ship.
I don't know. I've never seen the show.
Oh my lord!
They didn't finish it, so I'm like, I don't.
They finished it with the movie. You watched
okay,
Serenity after.
They half-ass finished it, so.
but anyway, and then I haven't played with all the expansions, but I did play with the Bounty Hunters one.
Okay.
That brought in where you could actually attack other people's ships and and steal their stuff or you know. So that made it really cool because it wasn't just, oh, I'm just going to move from here to here, get this stuff, bring it to here. You could actually go out and if you wanted to go and screw with them,
right,
you could.
Right.
Plus, it doesn't hurt that it had a lot of Firefly flavor in it if you like the TV show. I mean, it has, you can even get Jane's hat, or no, Jane's gun, Jane's hat, and all this different stuff, which, well, it will if you watch the show.
I played at Gen Con, the new one that they're doing.
The Adventures,
yeah, the
one.
Brigadiers and Broobies or whatever it was called, whatever.
I don't know about that.
It was a lot of fun, actually. I mean, I had no idea who I was and what we were doing, but the game itself was a lot of fun, so that was cool. Didn't help that the moderator kind of had no idea what was happening either. She was just sitting there, and we were correcting her on the rules. Right. Doesn't this happen? She's like, oh yeah, and like she was probably like fucking there for 10 hours just playing that same damn game, same mission over and over. She's like, oh yeah, can one of you kill me?
Yeah.
So, but I like that.
But yeah, so Firefly. I mean, there's so much stuff you can do. It's close to being a sandbox game. I know it's not like Xia.
Yeah,
as much.
That's what it was reminding me of.
But you can choose to be a good guy, you can choose to be a bad guy. You can kind of, you know, there's.
Is the aesthetic appeal to Firefly like, or would you rather play Xia? Have you played Xia?
I've never played Xia, but I don't know. I'd have to play it to see.
Right.
I just really like this because. Yeah, it has a lot to do with Firefly.
Okay.
Like if it was just a space game and didn't have Firefly on it, I really don't think I would like it a whole lot.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's just because it fills that hole since Fox screwed the series.
Right. Right, well, that's what they do. All right, so 52. My 52 is Betrayal at the House on the Hill.
There you go.
Yours was like 90-something, wasn't it? Anyway, Betrayal, same exact reasons that he said way back then. But it's such a fun game. Like, it's one of the best gateway games I think that you can bring in, except if they happen to be the traitor. But I mean, even then, the game is easy enough that anyone can read the rule and be like, okay, this is my goal. Because you don't have perfect knowledge on either. Like, even the people who aren't the traitor are like, wait, so what do we need to do? Because you don't know what they can do. You just vaguely know what they could do, and then vice versa. And so there's that, and it's just a whimsical house, like haunted house building. Each room does something different, and the flavor text is a really good job at making you feel like you're in a haunted house. But
87.
87. Yeah, so obviously at 52, almost halfway in. I also have the expansion, so it adds another 50 new haunts. So I mean, I've probably done maybe 5 of them, but even my friends who aren't gamers have played this game. And they love it. So, yeah, Betrayal at the House on the Hill, 52.
All right, my 52 is Battlestar Galactica.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I
have seen that show. I haven't seen all of it, but I think I'm like a season in.
Yes, it's great.
I really like it.
I would say Battlestar base game first expansion. Because after that, it makes,
Pegasus?
I think that was the first
one.
Because it brought in the
extra ship.
Plastic.
Oh, yeah, that did help.
Because the other ones were just cardboard tokens.
Yeah, they look
right. So, which I like. I mean, I don't like the other expansions. I'll play it any day.
Yeah.
If you have a long time. Because
it's a long game.
Because
yeah.
it turns it into such a long game with all those other expansions. So that's why the
But
base
they're all
game-
kind of modules, really.
They are in a way, but I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to add in Caprica, New Caprica.
Caprica's awful.
and
That one's so
and all
bad.
that jazz, you know, I mean, so I just like base game Battlestar with the plastic ships from this first expansion.
That's funny.
Just because, I mean,
Well, the other, I was other, I think Daybreak might have been the first one, but then there was Pegasus, which added,
there's Pegasus, Exodus.
which added the extra ship, the President, or not the President, it just added the Pegasus ship, some more spaces to go to.
Right.
And just more cards and stuff.
There are a few games left on this list that I can have stories and stories of stuff that happened in these games that you still remember after playing it all those years ago. You know, just having the.
This probably is the best trader mechanic game.
I love
think
it.
So it's so good.
But it also sucks when you're playing such a long game and then somebody, some new person screws up and.
Oh well, yeah, you don't play with new people then.
Right.
Like.
But,
and you want to know the great thing about this game is the fact that, yes, this one actually does do that same card stock from the show, but I think they did it better than the rest of them did. That in like the pictures matched what the actions were doing. It wasn't just them like just there. And the fact is I played this game way before I even knew what the show kind of was. So when I started watching the show, I was able to make accurate references and knew what was going on based on the game, which is a really huge shout out to the designers. Fantasy Flight, that's who did it. Or the publishers were Fantasy Flight.
That's good.
Yeah, so they did a really good job. And like the good thing is like, unlike Dead of Winter or those other games where it's like, hey, there could or could not be a traitor. Where halfway through that game you realize no one's a traitor, so the game becomes easy. This one, it's like, okay, someone's like, okay, is there a traitor? Okay, I think we're good. Then those cards get dealt out, and you're like, okay, now who is it?
Right.
Someone has to be it. And then like everything you do, like it's like, all right, guys, I'm just gonna go here and force jump. Why are you force jumping?
I can't count on my two hands how many times I've been airlocked.
It wasn't me.
Yeah. But anyway. We even played because when you get all the expansions in there, you can even have the sympathizer.
The sympathizer. Where if they pull, is that the one where they pull your card and bad shit happens?
Well, we always had this one guy in our group that was an open Cylon.
Why?
Because that's what he was the what do they call it? I can't remember the exact term because we didn't play with this expansion a whole lot. But there was one where you were actually a known Cylon, but you're a human sympathizer.
Okay.
So you're like a Cylon that's helping the humans.
Oh, I see.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, but yet you don't know if they are. Like their winning condition still is if the humans win.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, maybe.
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's.
Yeah, because there was one like I haven't got this far in the show, but isn't there like there were 7 Cylons that were actually like human sympathizers, and so those cards get dealt out, and if you ever draw their card and you pick that card, bad things happen.
One of the expansions of that,
Yeah.
Which it's so convoluted once you get all the expansions. I like just the base game.
Right.
Throw it in there, play it.
I actually have. There's a PDF on Board Game Geek where some guy actually took and snipped all the rule books together and color coded it. So as you're reading, you can read that and learn the game, and then be like, okay, if you're playing with this expansion, add this part.
Right.
So it's a brilliant thing. I printed that off and laminated it, and that's in my case.
Right. But you know, that's my 52 Battlestar I like to get.
All right, so 51. Now we're almost halfway there. After this one, we'll be halfway through. So 51 is Ravens of Three Sahasree. What a brilliant 2-player game where one person is it's an anime style game, which I'm playing a lot. Have you ever played Tragedy? Side note, Tragedy Looper. Have you ever played Tragedy?
No, I know what it is. I've
okay.
never touched it.
Anyway, so that's an anime game. I just had to mention that. But anyway, Ravens. One person is playing a girl in a coma, which, I mean, there's a story reason why. And her best friend or her boyfriend or her brother is trying to get her out, and he's basically dealing with her memories. And so you have an objective to make a Japanese-style poem where you need to add these numbers. I think it's 7757 or whatever, 7775. And so the girl player is sitting there, and actually the boy player who can talk is flipping cards over and then playing them all out and matching them up in a certain way. Pictures have to match pictures and stuff like that. And then the person that's playing the girl that can't talk has to pick one of those and add it. And so that gives the person limited information on what colors you need and what you don't need. And the game can be played multiple times, but like there's an objective for each time. And the first objective is like they come in envelopes, which you open up, and if you do that, because you can get points, then you can open up the second envelope, and it makes the game way harder. And the person I was playing it with, we actually beat the second one, and we looked at the third one, we're like, we're never gonna beat this, it's impossible. It's so hard, but it's a really, really good game I mean, halfway through the list, I love it. So that's my 51.
My 51 probably dropped a little bit from what I probably would have said it was at one point. Elder Sign.
Oh, wow, okay.
It's dice. It's the dice chucker in the Cthulhu.
It's actually the one Cthulhu game I don't like.
Really? I think you
like
would, because we've talked about this before. I think you would if you tried these expansions that bring it more of a story.
Oh, you probably.
Because base game, you're in the museum.
Yeah.
The next expansion, you're in the museum. The next one...
You're in the museum.
No. The next one, you actually go out. Like, you're in another part of the world, and it brings in the story element. And all the expansions that have come out since that one are doing story. Like
That's good.
Omens of the Deep, I think, was the last one. You're out in the water. You're out on the
ocean.
ocean.
Okay.
And there's terror in the ocean, which would just really thrill you. But
yeah.
So I haven't gotten to that one yet. I've done Unseen Forces and the Streets of Arkham. Anyway, it brings in a lot of cool stuff with it, and it's your typical. Your die, you're trying to find, you're using clues to do this, to beat these one deals, to get stuff, and to put, you're trying to take out the old one, just like any other Cthulhu game.
Right.
And it's
for
hard.
Mansions of Madness.
It's hard as hell.
Yes, it
Elder
is.
Sign.
Yes, it's a very hard game.
Only
because it's dice.
Right.
Like.
Well, I mean, and you can manipulate the hell out of dice too. It's just hard. Like, I mean, I've
only played the base game.
Yeah. The Unseen Forces gives you another die that does other stuff. But then I really like it was, without the story expansions, it would probably be like in the 70s.
Yeah.
But then you get you out of the museum on those other ones.
Yeah.
That's what's cool.
And
then
then
now you're moving into...
I think I would like that more because it was just like whatever you're going to put Cthulhu anyway, you have to have like a coherent story. You have to make it thematic. And so Elder Sign was, I mean, really just that kind of like that black sheep of like, what the hell, what's the point? Okay, I'll put that there, I beat it, yay.
Now my biggest complaint with the game is that it comes in one of those stupid FFG boxes, and there's no way to store everything in that box. Like I've contacted all these people that make inserts and stuff, like,
none of them
when you go make those in, they're like, well, it's in process or whatever.
You need to buy a really useful box and have it in a tote. I do too.
I like having the box on the shelf.
Right, but I mean, it's a great way to organize it. So I mean, I'd rather do that than have just like stacks of, or have that basically your lids just sitting on top of it.
Well, what I have right now is I have the base game right here, and then I have the 4 expansion boxes sitting on top of it.
Exactly, and see that bugs me more than I'd rather have it all organized into one.
But no, it's really cool. It's probably, well, it's not my favorite Cthulhu game.
Yeah.
Without getting into
I probably know what yours is.
It was my favorite Cthulhu game. It's actually the one that got me, because I used to not want to touch Cthulhu stuff.
Wow.
Because I was just like, you know how some people were with zombies?
Oh yeah.
Don't even want to touch zombies because it's too much.
Yeah.
Cthulhu was that.
Fair enough.
Cthulhu everywhere.
See, that's
and I was like, I just don't want to do it.
Yeah, and for me, Cthulhu is that thing where like you can almost always throw it into fucking anything, and I will love it.
Right, and I'm with zombies.
Right.
You know, so that's why this was the first one that got me.
And see, with that one, it was like it was so abstract from the Cthulhu theme anyway. Right. It only like it was like I obviously knew that's where it was from, but everything else is in there.
Well, the theme comes in on those expansions.
That's good, and I'm sure I would like it then.
Yep.
So that's it, everyone. That is 60 to 51. I hope you're still enjoying, because if you're here, then you're halfway through with us. Tell us what you think of the games that we mentioned in the comments below. Click the I to go to 50 to 41. And other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you want to support us, you can go ahead and click that link to go to my Patreon account. If you have any suggestions, you can go ahead and click the link in the show notes below to go to my Board Game Geek list. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.